Hello to you wherever you are. I'm making this video because I've had several questions about how to utilize PDFs as assignments in Teams. As many of you have discovered, if we just go in and hit Add Resources when we're building an assignment and just select the PDF, it's still that sealed PDF. Students can't edit it. So what we're going to have to do is utilize Class Notebook. So this is bringing in OneNote. If you haven't set up your Class Notebook yet, you're going to the Class Notebook tab, and then it will prompt you to set up the Class Notebook and go from there. I recommend sticking with the basic setup that it offers you until you're more comfortable using that tool. Once it's set up, you're going to end up with a screen. You'll have the teacher-only space, you'll have sections for each of your students, and so on and so forth. What we're going to do now is we're going to tell Class Notebook to open from Teams into the app. I highly recommend using the OneNote desktop app for editing, especially if you're doing kind of intense template creation, that sort of thing. So highly recommend picking out one team to build your templates in for these assignments. As you're probably aware, you can assign assignments across teams. So the nice thing about this is we really only have to build it one time. And for our template building, you can always put it in the content library, or you can put it in the teacher-only section. The nice thing about the teacher-only section is you can build these templates ahead of time, and because it's in the teacher-only section, your students aren't going to see it, and you can go from there. So right now, I have my blank page in my Unit 2 section of my content library. So my students could come in and see this as I'm working on it, but I just have this blank here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to hit Insert, I'm going to select Printout, and then I'm going to go in and select a PDF that I want them to be working on. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to select, actually we're going to back up on this, I'm going to come down to Geosphere here, and we're going to pull in this nice erosion web quest. So when I select that, it drops in essentially images of each of the pages here. So first thing I want to do is I want to come up here and I want to get rid of my little file icon here. If you leave that in, the students can click on it. What that does is it just opens up the PDF of it. They don't need that. We want them to write on this. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And I'm going to delete the text box here. As you can see, I've got some space here. If you're happy with it, you can leave it be. I'm not a huge fan of leaving that there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control A. What that is that's the hotkey shortcut for Select All. And as you can see, all of my little images here have been selected. So now what I can do is I can drag this up. And because I've selected all of them, the other pages come with it. Now this next step is extremely crucial because right now, all of these are images in here. So if I were to assign this right now, it would drop in exactly as we have it here, and a student could potentially delete that image. We really don't want that. So I'm going to make sure I've selected all of them, Control A. So once I know I've selected all of them, I'm going to come onto my page here, my image. I'm going to right click. And when I get this up, I'm going to select Set Picture as Background. What this does is it essentially glues these in. At that point, the students are able to type on it, they're able to draw on it, whatever they need to do. But the best part is they can't accidentally delete a page. Because if you don't do this, at some point one of your students will delete it, and it's kind of a pain to try and figure out where they are. The other downside of this, though, is that the links now, because it's glued in, the links are not active. So you always have the option of taking your original and putting links in if you need to, and from there. So I'm going to come back in to my team here. I'm going to go to Assignments, and I'm going to create an assignment. So to remind myself, this is my erosion web quest. So I'm going to title this Erosion Web Quest. And when I come to Resources, when this pops up, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select Class Notebook. As you're aware, you can pull stuff from your file section in Teams, OneDrive, you can link to websites, you can upload, like you're attaching an attachment to an email, whatever you need to do. But for this, we're going to come to Class Notebook. And I need to remember where I put this in. If you put it in the Teacher Only section, it's going to be there. I put mine in the Content Library, so I'm going to navigate there. I'm going to come to Unit 2, because that's where I had it. That's the section I was in for my erosion web quest. So I'm going to come back to Unit 2. I'm going to find my page, Erosion Web Quest, and I'm going to attach it. So this is the tricky part. The reason I recommend sticking with your default sections in Class Notebook creation until you're comfortable with it is because if I am assigning across multiple classes, I need to have an identical section in each of those class notebooks for it to go into. If I stick with my default sections, I'm good on that. I know for sure every one of my class notebooks in each of my classes has a homework section. If you do get fancy later on and decide to add them, you just need to make sure they are word for word, punctuation mark for punctuation mark, exactly the same. So I'm going to select homework. And as you can see, students edit their own copy. And when I hit done, that's going to attach here. I can go in and add points. I can change my due date. But the other thing I can do is I can click Assign To. And once this pops up, I can assign it across to any other class that I want to assign it across to. So that's the nice thing is, like I said, you were only creating this template in one place, in one notebook, and then I can assign it across to all of my classes. So when I hit Assign, I can see this here, which is nice. I can come in here. And the thing I want you to realize on this is because it's creating a OneNote page for each of your students, it's going to take a little bit. So this is not something you want to assign to students and have push out like right before you need it. It's going to take a little bit. Because I only have 3 students in this class, it's a lot quicker. So it drops in there. So the other thing I want to show you is what the student view looks like. This is my favorite part of assigning OneNote pages in Teams, because when the student clicks on the assignment tab and navigates to the assignment, they have a direct link to the exact location in OneNote to pull it up. So there's no more guesswork on where did my teacher put this in OneNote? How do I navigate inside OneNote? That's something you can scaffold your students up to if you're comfortable with that, if they're comfortable with that. But this takes that guesswork out, and it ends up being treated just like any other document that you would put in there. So when they click on this, it opens up their OneNote page specifically to them inside of Teams. Now they may have to come up here and select Edit Notebook. And this will give them a chance to edit in the browser or actually edit in the OneNote app if they want the full functionality. But they're going to have the option to be able to edit it in here as well. So I'm going to hit close on that. The other nice thing for you is you now get the full feature of grading inside of Teams. So you can come in and click across OneNote pages by student. So there's no more going in and navigating inside of sections across there or trying to use the OneNote grading tool in here, which is great features, but most of those features predate Teams and especially the assignment features in Teams. So while they were great at the time, this is the better way to do it. So I hope this makes sense. I hope you find this helpful, and I hope you're able to do some amazing things with your students this way.